Hi everyone, I hope everything's going well with you. We're here on the second week of the study that we're doing, or I'm challenging myself to do, and let's see if I can bring that up so there's no questions or problems. I was working on my own syllabus for integrative writing and digital literacy for adult learners. This created a writing and critical thinking in the digital age course, and we were talking about last time the introduction to let's see if we can get this going here, make sure we have this right. Here we go. So we were talking last time about the reflections that we did and how to find our own voice. I did 2 or 3 reflections, and I talked about my voice and how that came up with poetry and what my poetic voice is as a critical literacy reader and writer and artist and teacher. So, and then I was encouraged to create a couple poems, and those poems turned into visual art, and they're based on my interests and hopefully your interest too, as a digital writer, reader, researcher, and academic student. So I wanted to show you first behind me the writing. I can't get up right now, the dog's sitting on me. But you probably can't see it because it's in backwards. As you can see, it says wind, air, and ice. But the paintings coming along, I included some watercoloring and some diluted acrylic orange, as well as canary yellow, and kept with the blue but brought it into a darker blue, and used the expressive writing called asemic writing to imbue the lettering, or the graphics. He's got something sticky on him. Graphics. He doesn't like his hair touched. And so there, it's better now. So I guess while painting, he got some glue on him. So my point being is that, so asemic writing is in there. You probably can't discern from it right now, and I can't get up to show you, but I will show you in the next image. So let's go there and go here. As I was creating my collage for my book, from my writing reflections, which has to do mostly with lyrics and influences of syntax, as well as expression of words from former learning. So I went into creating this, but that started with this. Let's see if I can bring this up so there's no problems here. There. Okay. That came from this, which started with the writing, and then from the writing I used the expressive gesturing, influenced by calligraphy. What is the other writings? Calligraphy, spiritual writing, gestural writing, cursive, abstract art. And from that, we were I was going into making it more of a collage. Now I don't have a lot of help with this, So I used online, I went online to find out what other people are doing in collages. And this is
The
where,
first thing you need to know about writing a successful research project is that you need to get someone.
Excuse me. Yeah, he's very loud. And this is that's for our third set. So my point is that you reviewed, they say, I say, and then you should look out for the second part of this challenge is to go into this YouTube channel, and this will inspire you to make a collage. It'll show you the rights and wrongs of making a collage, even based off of your own reflections, and taking a chance by writing or creating your digital literacy collage based on the visual art as well. So I guess what I'm saying is that it shouldn't just be poetry. It shouldn't just be expressionism like I just used. It should be your own work, and you should use your own skills. For instance, on Canva, as well as with, which I find Canva to be easier. You can use so many tools here. You have the elements and the text themselves just to start with, and then you can use the writing tools or the drawing tools, and they have so many other tools that you can use that are free. I would not go into too many of them, although I do know that there's AI out there. I wouldn't suggest that right now. If you do want to use it just for the images, because that's not really going to get you to where it's going to probably not keep you focused into your own voice, and that's where we want to stay, is your interest, your voice, your writing, okay, and your creativity, and that comes from seeing what other people are doing as well, and then saying what are your interests, right? So, and that leads me to showing you that this is where my interests have gone. As you can see, that there's the influence from Asian writing, calligraphy, and you can think I say Asian because Japanese as well as Chinese. So, and then expressing that in a graphic image, and then on top of that, I'm showing you how this image looks like more of a not collage. Oh, what is those things? Mobile. And so I left that with the letters and mostly the A, which is the beginning of my first name, of course. And then I blocked out, it says carry them with him. And so I called it carry him. But really it's about the idea of who's leading who, the dog or the boy. So, and I thought that was a cute concept to use, as well as the lamp light to bring light into the situation, as opposed to just the writing itself, because we're having a contrast here, right? And then of course what I did also is reversed I guess it's the foreground or the bottom ground to the top here on the back here. So I made that collage there. And of course, nothing's wrong or right, but and it can be better, of course. I can do this by making it more transparent so you see more of the writing behind it, which says reflection, which is the R in the reflections. But what I did is I brought it into my work here, and this book is almost done, so you can pick it up on Amazon when it's done within the next month. Mimesis, and this goes into I could say see, this has boyhood of dog. That can be the same thing, but what I wanted to do was, where is it? it? Yeah, it goes right here. So that poem started like, I guess, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, wait. Let's see it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's about the 7th poem. And what I did is I mashed it together here with this poem. What I'm saying is I illustrated this poem with this collage. And you can do the same thing because it gives it 2 different textures and it gives you 2 different level. Well, actually it gives you 5 or 6 layers of collage, and that brings different textures of reading and literacy to your work. So I hope that example helps you. And now I want to go on to week 3. I don't want to go on to 4, so let me try to just make this bigger so people don't get, I don't want people to get distracted. Okay? Please don't get distracted as I am with this. This challenge is a challenge. It's challenges of challenges. Okay? So week 3 is research augmentation or argumentation and creative applications. All right, so we just talked about creative applications. We're going to go back there, I'm sure, and we can use all that collage for your creative applications, right? So let me just see if I can make sure we are here together. Okay, so that's good. And I'll move this over here and this over here because this is just how we read things, right? If we can. Okay, there. So right to left, left to right. And I want to really focus in on this writing here, this instructional writing here. So this will help you as well as help me. And I don't want to really, it's really not about my face picture per se. So let's just move that over here and make this bigger here if we can. I know, details, details, details. So, okay, so let me just read this quickly, and I'm just going to read this, and I'm going to move it down here so people can see on the bottom. Week 3, okay, I read that already. The assignments or challenges, I would say, for me, is reflection, journal, sharing my thoughts or your thoughts, as well as your thoughts on how digital tools are changing academic research. Okay, we just went over some of that, some of the tools. So now what is your reflection on that? What's the aesthetic literacy of digital writing for you? Or digital collaging, digital creating? How does that feel? You know, what is your takeaway from that? So, and thoughts on tools. We didn't go too much in AI because that's really not what we're talking about. We're just talking about basic, you know, graphic images, tools. You can even do basic things such as, you know, starting with newspaper and cutting out things, or just painting things and going from there. I'm not going to answer that. And then create your or get pictures from your scrapbooks and make it a scrapbook kind of response. So that's one way of doing it. Here is another video I want you to start thinking about. When we're talking about researching an argumentations, we're thinking about more research now, and we're thinking about literacy, and we're thinking about writing, or that's what I'm thinking about, at least for you. And so when I was looking up this information that I was challenging myself on, it says, for the media, it says, listen to research in digital age, what are people doing in the digital age? Well, so a lot of people are doing, even in this video, they're talking about AI and how to get information through the AI. Now, we're not writing dissertations, we're not writing theses per se, thematic papers or scientific papers, and this is a basic critical writing literacy course, right? And we're learning how to develop our writing as well as our understanding of illustrating that writing using digital media. And so that's how we're offsetting the challenge. And if this was graded, that's how I would offset the writing versus the illustration and the digital critiques of that as a group. So it's really it's a workshop model, kind of what I'm looking at, because I want people to, I'm hoping that you can interact not only with the computer but with other people based on your interaction with the computer and the media that we're talking about. So that creates a different context or conversation, a more material conversation. So what I also reviewed, and you don't have to, but you should consider it strongly, is multimedia, and listening to different audio books or something like that, or articles that you may find at your library or other resources. And they talk about digital age research, such as on Google. You can do a search on that. There's a lot of short videos out there, so it shouldn't take a lot of your time. Reading articles on argumentation strategies or so forth. I say augmentation because it's the same difference, I find it to be. And printing out, I would like you to print that out for later use when you're doing your proposal research, because it's going to contribute to your review or revisions and stuff like that, and that's what I'm finding for myself. So basically what your assignment will be within the next couple weeks, because we usually do this every 2 weeks, or I'm going to be doing this every 2 weeks, looking at that and reviewing that information that we wrote about, because I'm not even done with this proposal myself. So write a research proposal that includes an argument on the topics of your choice, on a topic of your choice. Okay, it can be a paragraph. I would like a whole page. I'm going to give you a nice format you can use on a PowerPoint if you really like to do PowerPoint slides. I find those interesting, but the PowerPoint slides come through easier by just using sentences and objective sentences that you're going to use, like I think it's 3 to 5 sentences, and that's all you really need. But you're going to have 3 or 4 slides. Now those 3 or 4 slides could be one slide, right? So you can keep it simple for yourself, or you can make it more digital. All right, so you're going to create the argument on the topic of your choice. But where does that argument start? Well, you're going to have to review that with your group. If you haven't talked about that already with your group, or your group hasn't talked to you about that, then we have the internet. Try to do that research yourself as well, and then bring it to other people. But what I've been doing is I've been really interested in this systemic writing, because it comes from Zen spiritual writing, so that's really interesting to me. For me, it has to do more with abstract expressionism. So, but really, is systemic writing or Zen spiritual painting or writing? Is that poetry? Is poetry the same difference? if we really look at the origins of poetry, it was based on oral tradition, not on the physical or expressive tradition. But, we could also say, well, look at the frequencies of sound now. Should we do that same thing? Should we have the same image in our poetry? Well, perhaps. Okay, so I don't want to get too off tangent here because we only have a few minutes here. So what I would suggest is this. I wrote a couple notes here. Is considering the what, the why, and the how. Okay, you can write that right down. The what, the why, and the how. Okay, and then you're going to consider a couple of things. I already told you consider a group mentality, or being mindful of the group mentality, because we've all done writing. If you're in a writing challenge such as this, that's academic based. That's I'm basing it on undergraduate work. That's what my workshop model is based on, and what I have experience understanding and teaching, or could teach. So that was my training. So collaborative group statement, that you will create your group statement or your proposal statement. Research proposal statement. So the thesis is the problem statement, right? So what you're going to start with is, what did you gather? What's one sentence that you can write that came from your conversation with your group or from your research? You can make it one basic statement, sentence, that's going to transition into your thesis problem statement. The thesis is your problem statement, okay? You don't want it to sound, and don't use cliches. Don't use something that someone's already said. Try to make it more of a sentence statement, more academic as best you can. And try to make it a complete sentence, even if you have to use independent clauses and dependent clauses. Please make it succinct to your point. Make it clear to yourself, because what's going to happen next is that I find, and this is what I'm going to do also, is, for instance, my statement would be something like, poetry isn't asemic writing. That can be the collaborative group statement. But what does that mean? So I would have to explore that into an expressive, a delineated sentence, which is going to say, it is said that asemic writing comes from it is understood that asemic writing started in the 1990s. It has been used as a Zen spiritual writing. Being that poetry is spiritual paintings, seeing that the paintings or writing, so the interplay there for me would be the writing part. Being that Zen writing is not poetry, Zen painting isn't the same as poetry writing. Where does asemic writing, this asemic writing? So something like that, where I would try to use the independent and dependent clause to contrast both the statements, both ideas. So, and in that thesis statement, it becomes an original statement as opposed to a cliche, or even just something somebody has already said. So a good way of thinking is, what is your approach? What is your approach to this, and what is your strategies? What is your overview, and other ways of relating to your interest in your or courses of work that you've studied? So what you're going to do is probably going to have a collaborative statement, which is going to be your first sentence, and then your second sentence is always your thesis statement. And after that, you can use I call it a pathos or logos kind of statement, which is what is the outcome? What is your ultimate outcome or interest from this? What are the approaches and strategies that are interesting you initially as you continue to explore your topic of interest? Maybe it has something to do with your course of studies or your interest, such as sports or something like that. But you have to relate it back to your digital writing and the digital age of writing. That these 3 sentences, if not a paragraph, depending on how well you are comfortable with it, would be your initial assignment. But moreover, what you're going to have to try to do is try to narrow your scope down in trying to get this into an argumentative statement. So this is a couple things that I wrote down, and please just listen, and this will probably make sense to you after I finish. So the next part would be why. Why are these proposals important, or does it have any value? Why is this proposal important? Does it have any value? Why are your interests important? Do they have any value to you? And why? And so you're going to start writing another paragraph on that, and that's going to be probably related to your reflection. So after you write your reflection on tools, digital tools, and how they are changing your academic research, you're going to relate that and probably your other reflections, statements, or excerpts from your reflections, parts of that into your next paragraph. And then you're going to go right into the how. What is some of the methods of interest, and they can relate back to your first paragraph, and the holistic common sense of it all, right? So you're going to review this, and one way of getting the research material is going back and seeing what other people have written about in the last 15 years, or last 10 to 15 years, and then see what people are doing recently, and try to make a comparison or contrast those topics or thesis statements that they may have used in their writing. And you can do that through the library or somewhere where you can find out research information. Now you can just do a Google search on things you're interested in, and it'll bring you up with periodicals of professional writings from the digital age, research in the digital age, right? Tools and research in the digital age, how they relate to your topic of interest, and then you're going to, from that, you're going to find out how that relates to your interests and what problems are you going to solve. So you're going to compare the former to the latest information, and you're going to consider your field of interests, and you're going to relate those back to your thesis. So this is all becoming more succinct, more clear to you, more concrete, if you will, of a statement for your problem and your proposal argument, and you're going to build the argument from that, and that data is going to you're going to make that into your presentation or a review. It's going to be part of your future paper or your presentation to your group again. So you're going to use this material again and again and again. And what's going to happen is it's going to be more refined, revised, proofread, and it's going to be more about you and your voice. So that's what's going to be great about this, for me as well as for yourself, as we all work this information out together. So this will lead to many revisions, so don't worry about this too much with your group, because you'll need more clarity from your group, and your group members will need more clarity from you, and you continue to work off those in your spare time with your reflections, journal entries, as well as your continued assignments. So get a folder, get all this information together, and try to condense this information into your own notes. Don't forget to, notes are different than journal reflections. So make sure that what I'm saying becomes your notes. So make sure you're taking notes on what I'm saying. If you're having problems with that, please get help. I'm just giving you an overview of what I'm finding to be helpful for myself to write this research proposal argument on the topic of my choice. And this will help hopefully structure your research and information. So don't worry about getting it right on the first time, even though time is getting away from us. I want to just say this is why we're doing the research, and this is why I'm taking on this challenge, because I wanted to help myself as well as yourself focus on these topics of what's an argument, what's a research thesis, what's a thesis statement, does a thesis statement is that the same as a research proposal argument statement, and where are they all related to our interest and our voices and our reflective journals and all that stuff that we have talked about. So don't go ahead because I do see that people are looking at week 4 revision strategies and peer feedback and assignments. We just talked about that, so no worries. Just keep on doing what you're doing and hanging in there, and please refine your collages, because that will help you, as well as your reflections and my reflections will help us to narrow down our scopes of interest. For instance, I can just think of now I'm not only concerned about the writing of the Asemic paintings, as I'm thinking about how does that relate to my poetry style and my voice and writing styles. So you might want to think about that too. What is your writing style? Where does that stem from? And how does that relate to your digital work in the digital age? And how does that relate to the course the course that I'm talking about? How does this all relate to your writing and your critical thinking, the way you think, and the way you use digital tools in the digital age, and how are you writing, creating, and really reflecting on your work? I hope this isn't too much. I think what I'm trying to do is help you as well as myself. So I think if you don't have a group setting or help at this point, this is really why I'm doing this also, is that we don't always have that kind of help when we're working online as students online, even though we do have group rapports and stuff like that. And don't forget to respond twice to anybody online that's interested in the same information. If not, just look for the information through these YouTube YouTube videos. And if you want to make a comment, I'm sure they'll be glad to hear from you. And if not, you know, make a comment to somebody else's work that's similar to yours. Okay, I hope this helps you. I know it's helped me, and continue focusing in on your voice, your style, your interests, and that will carry you, and I think it'll carry me into my next reflection. And good luck. So hang in there and keep on going. Bye-bye.